welcome to Round the World Women. My name is Patchanee Malikhao, your host of this program. Today, I have a guest from China, or the People's Republic of China. Her name is Yuan Zeng. Hi, Yuan. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Pat. Nice to meet you too.
Yuan joined Round the World Women a year ago, and now she is leaving for her home country very soon. I use this opportunity to invite her to talk about her country, culture, and her experiences in the United States. Yuan, you are from Xi'an,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I would like to know more about Xi'an. Can you tell me about it?
Sure. Xi'an is a maybe not very famous city in China, but I would say it is one of the oldest cities in China. It has a history, I believe, of more than 3,000 years old. And we know China has like 18 dynasties in the past, and among these 18 dynasties, Xi'an has served as the capital city for 13 dynasties. So it is a very old and also very historically significant city in China. And actually, when I am here, when I was asked by foreigners which part of China I come from, if they look puzzled when I told them Xi'an, I will tell them two additional information about Xi'an. One is that Xi'an is the starting point of Silk Road, which is the in the history in the past, it served as a very important trading route between China and Mediterranean area.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, how many people are living there in Xi'an?
Now the population in Xi'an is around 8 million.
Oh, that must be a very big city.
Yeah, that is a big city.
I know Xi'an just only from some pictures about those terracotta army in mausoleum. So, well, coming from such a big city, and you see Amherst here, so you see big differences, right?
Sure.
So, what kind of culture shock you have by coming here to such a small town?
Definitely, there are huge differences between a big city and a small town. And apart from the differences between city and a small town, and also I think the most striking differences come from the cultural differences between China and US. After all, these two countries are so different in many aspects, either in ideology, in culture, in history, in many aspects. I think one of the major differences would be in China, we emphasize more on collectivism. But here in US, I can tell Americans emphasize more on individualism. And I believe maybe partly the differences is partly due to the cultural differences, and maybe also partly due to the different economic development stages. Like after all, China and US are at totally different stages of industrialization or modernization.
Talking about that, I heard the incumbent president, Xi Jinping. Yeah, he said in Guangdong this year, right? He said that the emphasis of Chinese value is not adopting the total Western values. So, development in China doesn't mean Westernization. What do you think about that?
Actually, I should say I agree with this point. During the past, the Chinese are following too much the Westernized style, either in the modernization and also in kind of lifestyle. A lot of American popular culture, you can see lots of those kind of typically American popular culture in China now. But there are differences between these two countries, so it's not that easy to adopt another country's path or style into this totally different country. I believe we would try to figure out a way for development or for reform based on our own characteristics and based on our own national conditions.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. I know that you have studied in Beijing, another big city. What did you study?
I started in Beijing for my bachelor degree is for English language, and my master degree is for communication or international communication.
And now we went back to work in Xi'an again?
Yeah, my hometown.
So what are you teaching?
Now I'm teaching in the university in Xi'an. I teach journalism and communication, basically focusing on international communication and also international journalism.
So what brought you here to Amherst then?
I applied for a program, a visiting scholar program in China, and then got accepted here by the communication department at UMass. So now I came here for a 1-year visiting program. Yeah.
So you have underwent training with Amherst Media, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have produced a very interesting series introducing China to the rest of the world and the rest of the world to China. Would you like to explain more about that?
Actually, my practice here can be divided into two parts. The first part is what you said about introducing China to the world. And actually, that program is not made by me. It is made by my students back in China who are majored in journalism and communication. Yeah, they are doing a series of documentaries.
For how long?
I believe for 1 year. Yeah, they're still doing that.
All right.
Yeah.
And you are producing here?
And also, yeah, for the other part, I am doing a local news program here, and that program basically focuses on Amherst, what is happening in Amherst, what is some of the interesting people, interesting stories here around the town.
Oh, and that's meant for the audience in China?
Both for the audience in China and for local audiences. So that program is bilingual.
Oh,
both for English and for Chinese audience.
Oh, you must have worked very hard for it.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it.
That's
it
great.
Is fun.
So, what did you gain from living here in Amherst?
I should say I gained a lot from living here. I personally witnessed how US is different from China. And also I got to know how Americans view Chinese or view China. And also I got to know what kind of gap we still need to work hard on to catch up, in terms of the infrastructure here. After all, US is a developed country and China is still in the developing stage. So I can see there are still a lot we need to follow. But
you just said a moment ago that you need to use your own path.
Yeah.
And the US is definitely may not be your definite goal for development.
Yeah.
So there must be something deviation from the American ways of life.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. There are a lot of differences we need to focus on. For instance, like the way they make policies here. It's we call that democracy. It's basically based on every person's decision, every person's choice. Some people say democracy is good, and some people may disagree. I couldn't say this democracy is good or bad, but I would say not every problem can be solved by democracy or can be solved by the Americanized democracy.
So what is democracy in your Chinese way of thinking then?
I would say in Chinese way of thinking, we emphasized a moderate extent of everything, moderate extent of like democracy, moderate extent of even right or wrong. That is to say, we're not saying we should practice or we shouldn't practice democracy, but probably we will think before we take action, like what type of democracy is really suitable for China. Because from some real examples, you can see there are some practical problems which maybe at this current stages cannot be solved by that kind of democracy. Like, for instance, take one of the issue I am paying attention, for example, like the environment issue. Energy saving, many countries now are paying attention to energy saving. And so I think many countries are now trying to figure out new ways to use energy, like to use some new type of energy, like solar energy or wind energy. And before I came here, I thought, okay, U.S. is more developed, and the political system is like more kind of advanced. So I would assume they are using more new source of new energy in order to save energy for the sake of the whole world, for the sake of the next generations.
So what did you see?
But I was so surprised to see, at least in this town, in Amherst, or in the places I've visited, like in the West Coast or even in New York or Boston, some big cities around here. I just barely saw any signs of the uses of new energy, like solar energy or something. So
how is it being done in China then? Is it very advanced there?
Yeah. At least the solar energy is quite widely used in China. Almost, I should say, 1/2 of the households have the solar heat.
And you think that this is because of the leadership in China that imposed that everyone has to do something, right? Or that kind of
maybe it's not has
authoritarian.
to do. Maybe it's not has to do, but it's the advocacy from top
from
down.
the top. It's easier.
Yeah, it's easier.
So when you talk about democracy here, do you mean only just ballot casting, or everyone goes to vote? So it's more than that, right?
Yeah, I believe it's more than that. I think.
Can you explain more?
I think it also has something to do with individualism, which I mentioned earlier. Like every American tends to speak up his or her own opinion. Yeah, so everyone wants to have his or her opinion be heard, and that is good. But if we put this situation back in China, considering China has a huge population,
1.3 billion,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
and also
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's really a lot, and also considering the inadequate or imbalanced development between rural area and urban area, and also between different a lot of imbalanced development. So considering the practical conditions in China, that would be really hard to to make a policy if everyone in China got a say or something. I mean, at least it will be really inefficient, especially when it comes to some very urgent situation, like earthquake.
Oh, that is the crisis management.
Yeah.
I think in this country they would do the same. I mean, like when there are disasters or epidemics, so they would do it from the top down right away. But you think that for energy saving, it is better to have like a top down policy right away without getting some more opinions from others? So that's gonna depend on the leadership, the leader. Then, if the leader is okay, then things gonna be okay. But think about if the leader of China would be someone who is not so very intelligent or don't have like a long vision. So what would it be?
Yeah, sure. So either way would be risky. So that's why I was saying in China we emphasize a moderate extent. That is to say, we believe the best way to solve problem would be have a balanced combination of two methods of two routes. So I would say pure democracy at this stage is not quite suitable for China, but we need to have some political reform or something to at least have a way to make sure the leaders are the right persons.
So do you foresee that the fifth leader, right, Mr. Xi Jinping, would lead the country into a better or worse, according to you?
I think Mr. Xi came into office since last November, and from this month, there are some hints suggesting maybe things will turn to the good direction. For instance, after Xi came into office, he announced he would fight heartily against corruption, especially among official corruption. And everybody knows official corruption in China is really severe now. The problem is really severe now.
It is interesting because it's against the ideology of communism, right? That so someone is more equal than someone else in your Communist Party.
Yeah. So we can also interpret it as a sign of maybe gradual political reform. Yeah, we are hoping to see a gradual political reform in his term.
I see. So it's going to be cleaner politics.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. So now let's move to some issue about women. What is the women's status in China these days? So I've seen from the movies, like in those days, with women with bound feet, and now women in China are working and getting some executives functions and having more and more importance in the development of the country. So I would like to know more from you about women's status in China.
Yeah, sure. The women's status is improving day by day, and now the education rate of women is basically equal to the one of men, I believe.
Do they get the same pay?
No. Yeah, that would be the problem I want to address.
Oh.
Because as to my personal experience, when I was at college or at graduate school, there were more female than male. Or in other words, there were more male who got the higher scores or who performed better than male students. But upon graduation, it is much easier for men to find a job or to find a satisfactory
Why is that?
job. The employers will consider women as kind of weak in terms of performing many tasks, and they will also consider women have their own problems like fertility issues or something like that, and for the employers they will consider it as a loss to them.
Even a white collar job.
Yeah, even white collar job.
And how about daycare for children, for toddlers?
It is not very common to use daycare, and also daycare system in China is not that, I should say, not that mature as it is here. And actually, for my generation, it is more practical to have the couple's parents, the grandparents, to look after daycare.
Oh, I see. Now it comes to the one-child policy of each family where they are pampered by the grandparents and the parents. Do you foresee any posing danger or any change in the culture?
Yes, speaking of one-child policy, because I am one of the one-child generation.
Right.
I am the only child in my family. Many people are saying what you said, the only child will be pampered, it will be spoiled or something like that. But I would say, because I didn't see much problems in that regard. On the contrary, I should say this one-child generation, they benefited a lot. Like in the term of having no siblings to compete with them for family resources, investment.
I see. So you see only the good advantages.
But not only the good. I know there are many negative effects, many social problems. I believe one of the social problems is some kind of the couples who only have one child when they grow old, but just by accident they lost their only child. Then that will really be a problem for both the couples and also for the society, because for the couple, it is really a big loss in life.
I see.
Yeah, and for the society, the elder care problem of this kind of couples will be a big problem, because in China, at least till now, the major elder care way is still based in family.
I see.
Yeah.
So, but do you foresee that there will be more graying population then, because everyone can have only one child, and then you need someone else from a neighboring country or so to come and take care for the elderly, or to work cheap labor, because China is becoming more expensive.
Yeah.
It is, okay.
Yeah, that would be the aging generation would be a problem.
So you are now accepted a PhD scholarship from Hong Kong, and you are moving to Hong Kong soon.
Yeah.
So as a Chinese from mainland China, what do you think of Hong Kong? Is your ideal place to be, or what is it?
I think from my personal point of view, I would say Hong Kong is an ideal place, at least for study, because the education system is more advanced than the mainland China, and also Hong Kong is, we call that international hub. Yeah, it is a good connection between the Eastern and the Western. So there, especially for my specialty, I can really learn about not just about the Western culture or about the Western media, which I am majoring in, but also the Chinese or the Asian media, Asian culture.
So are you scared of a new language there? I know that people in Hong Kong do not speak Mandarin, right?
Yeah.
So do you understand Cantonese?
It's a pity. I don't understand Cantonese
so
yet.
You are going to speak English in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I have to speak English. Yeah, but I'll try to learn Cantonese if it's not that difficult.
Okay, I think I learned a lot from you, do you have anything else to add to this about Hong Kong?
About Hong Kong, I would say Hong Kong is a very interesting city because it is a Chinese city, and it is not that Chinese because we all know it has a history of being colonized by
The English.
Yeah, by the English. So many aspects of Hong Kong is still quite westernized.
So yeah, I know now Macau is part of mainland China, right?
Yeah.
And Hong Kong will be part of the mainland China within 30 years from now, or how many years from now? Not 10 years from now, right?
Yeah. Actually, officially speaking, China has taken over.
Yeah, but they will leave it as a semi-auto
semi-auto
system.
Yeah.
So they will gradually integrate Hong Kong into part of China real soon. So what do you think of it?
Actually, from some stories on the newspaper, on the media coverage, I can read some interesting incidents like how the tension between the Hong Kong residents, Hong Kongese, and the mainland Chinese, because it seemed like the Hong Kong people are kind of partly they need to be like integrated into mainland China, but partly they will kind of refuse that.
So you need time to adjust.
Yeah,
and you would call it
the conflict.
You call it integration or assimilation then?
I would choose the word integration.
Okay, great. I think I learned a lot from you. Good luck with your PhD study. And I hope to see you somewhere in Hong Kong or back in Xi'an. And thank you for your time. I know that you are busy, but you still, make some time for this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for your interest.